Imagine a war scenario where on one side are the world's most powerful military powers, America and Israel. They have state-of-the-art fighter jets, billions of dollars worth of missiles, and the world's most advanced air defense systems. They dominate every level from the sky to the ground. They are ahead in technology, power, and experience. Everything. But the surprising thing is that standing in front of this huge power is a weapon that costs less than a used car. And that small, cheap weapon is slowly starting to change the entire equation of war. Many military analysts are now saying that drones are changing the tactics of war. It is now possible to defeat an opponent not only with force, but also with intelligence, strategy, and economic pressure. If a drone worth a few $1,000s is to be stopped with a missile worth millions of dollars, it is easy to understand how much the calculations of war can change. At the center of this change is a strange weapon developed by Iran, the Shahed 136 kamikaze drone. We are now living in a time where war, global politics, and economic crises have made the future of many people uncertain. Every day, new tensions, conflicts, and displays of power are unfolding before our eyes. But amidst these major events, a kind of silent revolution is taking place. The nature of war is changing. At first glance, the Shahed 136 drone may seem very ordinary. It is not a large fighter jet, nor does it look like a sophisticated missile. Rather, it looks more like a simple, small flying machine. But the reality is that this small weapon has begun to change the very concept of modern warfare in the last few years. Etin prinsapay minikert, yar aster yit unt, yar prayukta it shaktishali, yudh kasitret tar japa oyar sambhavnayo tetbeshi. Kinta Shahed 136 say darnatake yalanij krechi. Do some math. The American Tomahawk cruise missile costs several million dollars. The Russian KH-101 cruise missile also costs close to $1 million. Even ballistic missiles can cost hundreds of millions of dollars. These weapons take time to make, require a lot of technology, and cost a lot of money. But in the midst of all this, a weapon has emerged that costs only a few $1,000s, sometimes less than an old car, and that weapon is the Shahed 136 drone. This is where the real power of this drone begins. Because it is not just a weapon, but it is a strategy. Shahed 136 is called a kamikaze drone or a suicide drone. In military terms, it is also called a loitering munition. Its working method is completely different. It does not hit directly like a normal missile. Rather, it hovers in the sky for a long time and searches for a target, much like a bird of prey, flying in the sky waiting for its prey. Some targets are not always visible. They appear sometimes, then disappear in a moment. So this drone hovers over a specific area for a long time, waiting for the right moment. When that moment comes, it suddenly dives down and explodes, destroying the target. The drone is also destroyed. That's why it's called a suicide drone. Another strange feature of this drone is its sound. When it flies in the sky, the sound of its engine sounds a lot like a scooter. That's why it's sometimes called a flying scooter. This sound is not only strange, it is also a cause for fear. Because when someone hears this sound in the sky, they understand that something is coming, but they do not know exactly where it will hit. The structure of the drone is also quite simple. Its length is about 3.5 meters and the wingspan is about 3 meters. The entire drone weighs about 200 to 220 kilograms. At the front is an explosive warhead, which can weigh from 30 to 50 kilograms. At the back is a propeller and a small 2-stroke gasoline engine, which can produce up to 50 horsepower. With this engine, the drone is able to fly at a speed of about 200 kilometers per hour. The drone has a small computer system in the middle, which controls the entire flight. It is accompanied by a GPS system, which determines the drone's location through satellites. If for some reason the GPS does not work, the drone uses an inertial navigation system. Through this system, it can calculate its speed and direction and move in the right direction. In some cases, this drone can also detect the enemy's radar signal. If the radar signal of an air defense system is detected, then it can attack in that direction. Because if the radar is destroyed, the entire defense system is largely blinded. This drone is launched from a special launcher truck. There is a launch rail on the truck where the drone is placed at a certain angle. Then a small rocket booster is launched, which quickly lifts the drone into the sky. Once the drone is in the air, its own engine is activated and the booster is separated. The range of this drone can be up to 2,000 kilometers. But its real power is not in single attacks, but in using many drones together. Sometimes dozens, even hundreds of drones are sent into the air at once. They do not hit the same target all at once, but rather choose different targets. These drones usually do not fly very high. Instead, they fly close to the ground. As a result, they are often delayed in being detected by radar. And when they are detected, they are often attacked before defense systems are ready. It is technically possible to destroy these drones. But here comes the biggest problem: cost. A drone that costs only a few $1,000s is often destroyed by a missile that costs hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. For example, the interceptor missile used in Israel's Iron Dome system costs much more than this drone. Again, using America's Patriot missile increases the cost several times more. In other words, to destroy a cheap drone, you often have to use a weapon that costs many times more than the drone itself. And when hundreds of drones attack at once, it puts a huge strain on the defense system. At some point, the missile stockpile may run low, and the system may become overloaded. That's why many military experts believe that the Shahed 136 is not just a drone, it symbolizes a new reality of modern warfare. A reality where a small drone worth just a few $1,000s is fighting against weapons worth billions of dollars. This drone has shown that war does not depend only on technology or power. Here, economics, strategy, and planning are equally important. A new way of thinking about what war will be like in the future has begun. Many believe that future wars will be unequal wars, where even the weak side can put pressure on the strong side. Drone technology, artificial intelligence, and automated weapons are rapidly changing the face of warfare. Ultimately, the question remains: is war simply a game of strength or of intelligence and strategy? The Shahed 136 drone has shown us that sometimes the smallest and cheapest things can make the biggest difference. And that's why, in today's world, even a drone costing a few $1,000s is capable of challenging a multi-million-dollar war system.